here at Redemption Church Arcadia, we host what's called an all-of-life interview. And the purpose of an all-of-life interview is to help us reimagine our vocations, to see the sovereignty of God over all of life. Because we have this phrase, all of life is all for Jesus, and God makes specific claims on every aspect of our lives, especially the places where we are the most often, which is typically our workplaces. And it doesn't matter what type of workplace we have, what type of work environment we have, how old we are, God is making a claim for us and on us in those spaces. And so one of the ways that we've been talking about this over the last few weeks has been how this affects students and how students go about their week. And so I've had the pleasure over the last few weeks to work with a young man we're going to interview today. His name's Asher Groen. Can you please welcome Asher to the stage? How's it going, Asher? Good. This is Asher's third time up here today, so it's a good day. Good job, buddy. So we've had some time over the last few weeks to really kind of break apart the different parts of this all-of-life interview. And Asher has done some great reflection. We kind of shaped the interview around some of the things that he was thinking about. And so I'm going to go through some questions that are going to be different from what we typically have, but we'll walk through this, and hopefully this is edifying for all of us. So Asher, you're a student, correct?
Yeah.
Yeah, figured. Where do you go to school?
Phoenix Christian School, pre-K.
Absolutely. So you go to Phoenix Christian School, and you're in what grade now?
Third.
Third grade, absolutely. So when you go to school, Phoenix Christian School, what do you do? How would you describe your day at school?
Mostly we do subjects, and my favorites are math. My favorites are math, PE, and recess.
Yeah, those are great subjects, math, PE, and recess. And there's a ton of different things that you do throughout the day when you're at school involving those too. So when you think about your day at school, how can you reflect God and God's work during that day?
By trying to do everything with all the fruits of the Spirit.
Absolutely, by thinking of the fruits of the Spirit. Remind me of the fruits of the Spirit again.
Love, joy, peace, patience, kindness, faithfulness, goodness, self-control, and gentleness.
All right, so when we think about these fruits of the Spirit, the way that we can live those out through our day, can you give me an example of a way that you can demonstrate the fruit of the Spirit at school?
Kindness, sharing the springs, and patience, using self-control, and not getting worked up during courseware.
Absolutely. So there's some really good ways to show kindness because there's a limited number of swings, and you need to wait your turn, and really trying to be patient with your friends as you're playing foursquare out there. So why is it hard to always do that?
Because there's a lot of people and a lot going on during recess.
Yeah, there's a lot of people. It's a lot going on. It's a lot to try to do to live out the fruits of the Spirit that way. So can you give me an example of a time when it was hard to demonstrate the fruit of the Spirit?
Self-control. Our teacher said we're not allowed to run in the sand area, but we were playing tag while we watched us play ran.
Yeah, it happens. So you're playing a game that wouldn't involve running. Your teachers say don't run, but sometimes it's hard to be controlled to do that, right? So it's tough sometimes. So one of the things that we always talk about in these all-of-life interviews is how your work gives you an opportunity to love and serve your neighbor. And one thing that we talked a little bit about was trying to think of who are the different neighbors that you have at school. So who are some of those neighbors you have at school?
Friends, teachers, cousin, uncle, which is the principal, classmates, and sister.
And your sister too, which is great. She's here right now. I bet she appreciates you listing her as a neighbor. That's great. So how can you love your neighbors during your day at school?
By being kind and thinking of others before myself.
Yeah, there's a way to use these things to love people and be gentle with people and be patient with people to continually love them through that. So can you give me an example of a time that you were kind to a neighbor at school?
I did kindness at the spelling bee.
At the spelling bee? Do you want to tell the story this time? You want me to? Okay. So while we were going through this, Asher kind of offhandedly told me this really lovely story. We were thinking about the ways that we can be kind to people. And I'm breaking up. I'm awful clumped up here because of you, Asher. So he, every class in his school has 2 students that can participate in the spelling bee. And in the school-wide spelling bee, the top 4 places all get a ribbon. And Asher and his classmate were both in the spelling bee, and one of them came in 4th, that was Asher, and one of them came in 5th. And the girl that came in 5th was really distraught because she was really hopeful to get a ribbon. And Asher, sort of seeing that there was this desire that a friend of his had, took what he had available to him, which was this ribbon, and he broke it in half, and he gave her half of it, and he kept half for himself. It was a very kind way to love and serve his neighbor with what he had around him. Is that accurate? Wait, So, as we close these interviews, we always want to make sure that we're praying for people. So, Asher, how can we be praying for you as you go back to school this week?
That I can be kind and use self-control to friends, and that no one gets hit in the head with the hard ball or frisbee.
Yeah, those are really good prayers. So, if you all wouldn't mind bowing your heads with me, we're going to pray for Asher. Lord God, you are the great teacher. God, you call us yours, and you teach us so much about yourself. And Lord, through that process, you ask us to bear out the beauty of your truth. And so, Lord, I pray that as each of us goes into our work, or as Asher goes back to school, as the rest of our children here go to school, God, that they would be safe, God, that they would be patient, God, that they would demonstrate self-control. And through all of these things, they'd be remembering who you are, and they'd be sharing that good news with their classmates, with their teachers, with their neighbors, God, with everyone they come into contact with. We thank you for these beautiful fruits that we can bear. We thank you in Jesus' name. Amen. Can you all thank Asher for me?